Our next dog is Maxwell, and he is one of our senior residents at about 6 to 7 years old. He came to us as a stray, which is not uncommon for our hound mixes. If anybody has had a hound in the past or knows anything about the breed, they tend to follow their nose and they often wander off, and that is probably the case with Maxwell here. He arrived in mid-November, so he hasn't been here with us too long, and he's already becoming, a favorite around the shelter, just because he's, as you can see, incredibly affectionate. He's pretty quiet, he's easily manageable, and he's just a nice, fun, sweet guy. There are some things to take into consideration. With Maxwell, he does have some medical. Often dogs with floppy ears can have issues with ear infection, so he has received some medication for that because he does have an ear infection. He's being treated for that. Also, when checking out his teeth, we noticed that he's going to need a dental fairly soon. Those aren't uncommon things, especially when your animals start to age. But it is something that you want to take into consideration to make sure that you have the financial stability to be able to provide him with that procedure. And depending on how many teeth he may need pulled and things like that, it can be sometimes a fairly expensive procedure. So you want to make sure that you're aware of all of those things.
I noticed that we're requiring Maxwell's next family to have a fenced yard. That's not typical for most dogs we adopt out. Why is that?
It goes back to his nose, and we have definitely noticed that he follows his nose anywhere and everywhere without any thought going into where he's going. And the fence issue is really just to keep him safe. Some people want to let their dogs out. We want to make sure that he's not going to be able to run into traffic following his nose, or get into an altercation with another animal. Because he's such a nice dog, we don't want somebody else to pick him up and be like, oh, I think this is going to be my dog now. Taking him out on a leash can often be another option. Here he's always on a leash. But, just like a tether or something like that would not be advisable. You want to make sure that he's supervised or he's in a very secure fenced yard for his own safety. Sometimes with hound dogs, that means, even sticking, some people will put some chicken wire along the inside and further down into the ground so that they can't dig through, or put some type of decorative patio stone or something around the bottom of their fence to make it even harder for the dogs to dig through. And those are all things that can be options if you have a dog who's prone to wandering like many beagles are. If you have some beagle experience and the fact that Maxwell here likes to follow his nose doesn't deter you, you can sign up to make an appointment to visit him by going to visitfcac.as.me.